Hi, my name is Cara Brennan. I'm a filmmaker, I'm an artist, a writer, a tarot reader, a magician, an occasionally competitive strongwoman athlete. I'm an artist. I've had this channel for a long time, I guess, and I've never really done anything with it, although I've thought about it a lot. And I've reached a point now where I know what I want to use it for, which is to share my story, which is to share how I've transformed and grown over the last decade. I used to be incredibly depressed, anxious, disconnected from my body, deeply insecure, sad, lonely. I've been in some very dark places in my life. I'm a deeply sensitive and sensate person, and I have struggled to find my way in the world. And I'm now in a place in my life where I'm not going to say I have it all figured out by any stretch of the imagination, but I have discovered tools and systems and support and things that have so deeply enriched my experience of life on the day-to-day, the week-to-week, the month-to-month, that I feel an incredible compulsion to share these things, because I benefited so much from other people sharing their stories. These times in my life where I was really lost, where I was really struggling to get through the week, to get through the day sometimes, I was helped so much by reading and hearing about how other people had overcome their challenges and gone on to create incredible meaning and joy in their lives. And I am very much on that journey. I consider myself a seeker of meaning, of art, of beauty, of the truth, of my truth, of the deep and mysterious things that make up this dance of reality. I'm curious and in love with it all. And I want to be in the world as a person who can at least help reflect back to others things that might help them, might help you. And I say this as someone who is simply an authority on what has happened to her. I am an authority on my own experience, and I have seen some shit and I've been through some shit. And I am deeply lucky and blessed in many ways. And there are some aspects of my journey that I completely give and surrender to God, to Goddess, to Spirit, to love, to the people in my life. I do not believe in a super isolated way of doing things, that all of the burden of our own existence is on us. Other people are a huge part of how we grow. And knowing and understanding how we grow in relationship to others is, I believe, a key aspect of development, of expansion as an individual. And that being said, there is so much within us as individuals that we can take responsibility and ownership for. And my journey started very much through that line of questioning, through deep diving and really trying to take ownership for everything I could. Everything. And it is an incredibly confrontational journey to begin. And if you are in a place in your life where you are starting to level up in that way, where you see and you feel that you have this untapped capacity within you that wants to come out, because you do, everyone does, and you feel blocked and frustrated, I have been there and I'm still working through it. But I have grown so much and I have unlocked so much within myself. And part of that has been through learning to trust others and connect to other people, as well as taking extreme ownership, to borrow a Jockoism, for myself and my actions. So I want to sort of just give you a little broad framework for who I am and where I've been. At time of recording, it is February 3rd, 2023. I have been on an extreme self-discovery journey, I would say, for the last 10 and a half years or so. And that journey began very much out of college, out of acting school. I moved to New York City when I was 18 years old, in late 2015. And acting school and my pursuit of acting as a craft and as a discipline put me down a rabbit hole of self-discovery that has shaped my entire life. And I am deeply grateful for that experience. And it was my experience being a young actor and trying to learn about myself that sort of set me up to do these deeper dives into myself. But all that is to say, when I got out of college, it was a 3-year program, and I graduated in 2010. I was very lost. I had basically no self-esteem. I had no discipline. And by discipline, I mean I had very little ability to act and be committed to my desires and help them grow. I was very reactive. Things in my life controlled me. Events and circumstances controlled me. I did not know how to really proactively shape and guide my own life. I was very sad. I was very depressed. I struggled to connect to other people. There are a lot of different reasons for why I was the way I was. But I think a lot of people will be able to relate to them broadly. We all have childhood shit and, things that have happened to us. But it's not really about the specifics of individual sufferings or occurrences. This to me is about the universality of how so many of us in the modern day struggle to feel meaning. We struggle to feel connected to what we're doing. And this can show up as extreme disconnection, as apathy, as numbness, occasionally lit up by extreme sadness and fear and self-loathing and frustration and despair. And when you start to experience cycles that lead to despair, you are in dangerous territory. And I've been in that territory, and it is very, very dark. And my heart goes out to you if you are dealing with that right now. This is a very interesting time in our lives. And I know that a lot of people are suffering. I have lost people in the last year. There is shit going down. So if you are feeling overwhelmed and sad and scared, you are not alone. That is not a unique experience. And I don't say that is sometimes said as a means of being comforting, like you're not alone. And what good does that do you, right? And I pinpoint it because there is a collective sort of crisis happening, I believe, with this generation, our generations now, this particular time, where many of us felt totally constrained and suppressed our entire lives. And we're now at a breaking point where if we don't call forth our gifts and the love and the incredible light that we have to share, it's going to eat us up. It's going to destroy us. And I feel like I have been close enough to that edge of combustion that could turn to self-destruction that I have a sense of what it is. And I just want to share how I turn that combustion into a spark for illumination, for positive growth, for instead of that despair and that fear and that grief overwhelming me and taking me down, it lit me up. And that isn't to say that there wasn't a lot of pain and confusion along the way. There certainly has been. When you get in the process of confronting your deepest, darkest fears, it's hard. It's not easy. This is not a cakewalk. I'm not here to be like, well, if you just think positive, everything's going to be fun all the time. That is not reality. But there is so much joy to be had. There is so much meaning to be had. There is so much to be taken out of every single day with love and excitement. So I'm still talking very sort of broad strokes here, but what started to sort of push me out when I started to really get the reins on life a little bit, it was a combination of things. I had a couple of external events happen that were very scary. One of them was just a very bad breakup from a very bad relationship, which left me in a place of realizing that I seemingly had no control over anything that was happening in my life. And that was terrifying. And it was so terrifying that by luck, grace, fortune, I landed on the idea that I had to take control of something, of one thing, however small. And I had to commit to it and do it. And for me, that was fitness. Maybe I couldn't control the outer circumstances of my life at the time, but I could control what I did with my body every day. I could control what I put into my body every day. And that for me was a massive gateway. And the changes physically started happening fairly quickly because I went very hard on those changes. I went from never working out and drinking and smoking a crap ton, bar food. I was a bartender and waitress, to a very strict like paleo, intermittent fasting, working out every day. Like I went hard in the paint. And so the changes happened very quickly. And what was great about that was not the specific methodologies that I chose, but I committed to something that made real changes happen, that showed me that my willpower and my desire to claim my bodily sovereignty and to change the direction of my life was real. My ability was real. I had the power to make change. And once you realize that you have the power to make change, you can never unknow that. And then it becomes a question of how much are you willing to take responsibility for? And then you start to get really interesting. You start to get into really interesting territory. Really beautiful, really illuminating, really challenging territory. But once you realize that you have that ability, then you start to be able to envision what would it be like if things were different? What would I want? What would I see? And what's amazing is that my ability to envision and imagine bigger changes now is like astronomical compared to where it was. Because starting out, I could barely literally put my mental attention on imagining anything very different than what I was experiencing at that time. And that was because my will and my imagination was shut down and cut off from my heart. I was in a constant like disassociative, reactive fear state. And it was working out that helped me start to plant the ideas of, well, what would it be like if I was a little more fit? What would it feel like if I was a little more strong? What would I look like if I had a little more muscle? And just those questions unlock the doors to the psyche. That's a Clarissa Pinkola Estes quote that I love. Questions unlock the doors to the psyche. Something like that. And that is when you start to actually be able to ask yourself certain questions about the future, you start to be able to envision it. And vision and your imagination is the torch that you thrust ahead of you as you forge into the dark, terrifying unknown of trying to create your own future, of trying to create your life in accordance with your heart. And this is available to you and to everyone. This is what I have discovered over the last 10 years. And it is something I am deepening into all the time. It is the relationship between my heart, the love I have in my heart for myself and everyone that is in my life, and for life itself, and my imagination, and how my willpower, my ability to focus my imagination and my heart together to create something for myself and for others changes things. It changes things in a beautiful way. You do not have to be a victim. You do not have to be afraid. You can change. You can grow. You can reveal the greatness that is inside you waiting to come out. It is there. I'm telling you. People look at me now, they're like, oh, you're so strong. And like I've competed in strength sports at a pretty high level. Not the best in the country, but like I've been freakishly strong and athletic. And like when I was starting this out 10 years ago, like I could barely walk up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. I like my ability to do things just was like, it was like I was a shell of a person. And I'm so passionate about this because I did it. And I truly did not think I could on some level. I was so scared all the time. So this is me to old me right now. And I just know that I'm not alone in what I experienced. I know there's so many people going through what I experienced. And I'm here to be that person that pops up in your feed to be like, guess what? You're the one. You can do it. You can grow. You can be amazing. You already are. And it is about learning and strengthening your imagination and your will and your heart so that you can express the greatness that's inside of you. And it is work, and it is beautiful, and it will change your life. You can do it. I love you. Have an amazing day. I hope to be doing videos like this at least once a week. Again, this is sort of the broad strokes intro of what the hell I'm about. I'm going to go into more detailed stuff in the future, like fitness into spiritual growth, into magic, into tarot, and a whole bunch of things. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. You can catch up with me on Instagram, TikTok, Substack, and here. Drop a comment. Have an awesome day. Take care of yourself.